Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your ocularly obsessed host, Kay, and tonight on the Darkheart project, we'll be exploring the abandoned ruins of a derelict museum, an obscure piece of pseudo-edutainment media dredged up from the depths of the afterweb. So grab your bolt cutters, charge your flashlights, and pray there isn't an entrance fee, because tonight we'll be breaking into the Dark Hill Museum of Death. Because a solo visit to a museum is dreadfully boring and urbexing alone suicidally dangerous, I've brought along my friend CJ to help with this case file.
Hello, I'm CJ, the Darkheart Project's editor and resident local, and I'll be assisting as we delve into this world of shadows and exploration.
With the pleasantries out of the way, let's get out of this rain and get to work. Our story begins, as most stories do, with our storyteller. The Dark Hill Museum was created by Dan Rusco. He'd been creating games ever since a young age, according to his game's website. He states that his love started with creating rudimentary dungeon crawlers out of shoeboxes. Notice I said his game's website. Rusco actually had 4 websites, 5 if you count his GitHub. Games by Rusco, the one this information came from, Dan Rusco, a website that seems both older and newer, where many of his personal interests were cataloged. Heresy Comics, a website dedicated to the mini-comic Dead in the Water, which is absolutely worth the short read time. And Death Museum, a website for the Dark Hill Museum, which is surprisingly and pleasantly light on details of the experience. I'll leave a link to the remains of these in the description below if you'd like to check any of them out for yourself. To be honest, I was rather surprised that all of these sites were cataloged. His personal website is absolutely worth a look if you're interested in retro tech or culture, and Heresy Comics is, again, worth a visit if you like noir comics and terrible sea life-based puns. The Death Museum web domain contains little of interest to us. However, it does have a link to a small line of merchandise, most likely long out of print. But what it does have is an excellent transition to the topic of the game itself. The game was initially posted to Rusco's Game Jolt page in November of 2017. During this cycle on Game Jolt, the game was updated multiple times. Unfortunately, neither the specifics of those previous versions nor the times of those updates survived. We do know that human sacrifice was added at some point post-release, and that's about all the interesting trivia there is. At some point in early 2019, Dark Hill was released onto Steam, boasting, quote, 2 new exhibits, music, introduction comic, and a save load feature, unquote. And it's at this point that our excursion into the museum really begins. Ha! Finally. Now that we're out of the rain, would you do the honors, CJ?
But of course. After breaking open the lock on the museum's front door, we find that it closes behind us, sealing us within the mysterious building. Upon entering, a series of nooses line our path into the building, a grim foreshadowing as to what one can expect within the chamber beyond. As we step forward, an executioner's drumbeat sounds throughout the room, as if heralding our approach to what the room contains. A guillotine, an executioner's chopping block, an electric chair, a mural showing the execution of King Louis XVI, and a firing squad wall, which, if we so please, we can press ourselves up against, as if awaiting our own impending demise. If one approaches the electric chair, there's a series of levers which can be pulled. This is our first puzzle. Puzzle number 1. Death row. After frying a prisoner with the good old-fashioned death penalty, we turn to our next challenge, residing beside the guillotine. Here, we find a pentagram, the infernal symbol accented with a series of blue pegs pasted at the points and corners. Our second puzzle, the peg pentagram. It's like one of those games you play at Cracker Barrel, but with demons! Solving this puzzle does summon a reward in the form of a round crystal, though no demons appear. Damn. If one drifts toward the mural, painting the graphic demise of Louis XVI, there's a third puzzle to be found by the door. The other door features a puzzle as well, with a series of colorful skulls grinning at us from within a group of wheels. As you can tell, our way out of this room is blocked by these two tasks: puzzle number 3, Date of Death, and puzzle number 9, Skull Discs. Upon solving these, we're given access to 2 new rooms, and pass the threshold into our next exhibit. An imposing pyramid looms within the room's center, as we find ourselves transported to one of several realms from the past we'll be visiting, a room dedicated to the ancient tradition of sacrifice, humanity's gory efforts to feed the gods above. Flames dance and flicker all throughout the chamber, while eerie flute music fills the air. The walls are composed of ancient bricks of yellowed stone, with vines trailing down the upper portions of the walls. A rack of human skulls looms in the corner, empty eye sockets looking out over the room beyond. The room also features a display of sacrificial knives, an altar, a model depicting the ancient city of Tenochtitlan, and a number of paintings showcasing the bloody rituals that the human race once performed in worship of their ancient gods. The influence of the Aztec sun god Huitzilopochtli and how it painted the civilization of the time is painted for all to see in this room's exhibits. Here in this room, we find 3 more puzzles. These include number 4, Frustrating Water Puzzle, number 5, Math in Base 5, and number 7, The Heart Maze. Through one of the nearby doors lies our next major exhibit, one whose dark colors and shades of red and black create a striking contrast with the yellows and greens of the exhibit before it, with gunshots echoing within.
Taking a right from human sacrifice lands us right in the middle of the trenches. The rapport of rifles and the shuddering shock of bombs echo from across the desolate Badlands as the wind whistles across the empty night. Welcome to the front lines of World War II. As friendly bombers fly overhead, an enemy fighter leans over the trench, threatening to topple over and block our path as we traverse the area. The floor and walls are littered with scraps of wood debris and sheets of corrugated metal, completing the illusion. As we wander down the path of these trenches, we come across a camp covered in Allied propaganda. Puzzle number 8, literally just the Enigma cipher, as well as a radio that plays various pieces of news and reports from the era. The exhibit concludes on In Flanders Field, a piece of poetry from World War I.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
At the end of the corridor is the door that leads back to exhibit number 1.
Passing through the execution exhibit's other door, we arrive in a midnight graveyard, lit by distant stars above. A tree, absent of leaves, serves as the room's centerpiece, with glowing white orbs lining its branches. The room is encircled by mausoleums, with coffins securely resting inside behind ancient iron gates. This room also features a number of interactive exhibits, including a diorama of a casket being buried, which moves upon pressing a button, and our next 3 puzzles. Number 10, Ashes to Ashes, number 11, Ancient Runes, and number 7, Sliding Skulls. The room's ominous tune echoes around us as we explore this chamber of the hallowed dead, the stars and ghostly white lights almost creating an illusion of spirits drifting throughout the room. Out of all the exhibits, this room is by far one of the most aesthetically impressive, at least in my opinion, and the somber atmosphere it creates is genuinely rather beautiful, despite its macabre themes. The room feels mysterious and melancholy, and is a central part of the museum's enigmatic ambience. Passing through the threshold of one of the room's exits sends us into another macabre scene, as we step back into the past once more to witness another time period in which death's influence flourished.
Once again, going right from the graveyard puts us into a medieval village. Carts of wrapped bodies sit abandoned and red-eyed rats scurry about the corpse wagons. This is the prototypical scene in London, circa 1350, as the bubonic plague, more commonly known as the Black Death, swept its way across Europe and Asia. The buildings seem to shadow a much taller skyline, one that blots out the stars, leaving only the inky black of darkness. It's a grim scene. In this exhibit, you can find several paintings, sketches, and illustrations of events as they were supposed to have happened. We can also find puzzle number 12, Surgeon Simulator. Other than that puzzle, the room proved a dead end, much as the Black Death itself.
The mysterious and grim exhibits don't end there, though. 2 more exhibits lie tucked away behind the puzzles we solve as we progress. One such room is the Egyptian exhibit. A low ceiling, close walls, and dim lighting create the illusion of being deep within an ancient, sealed tomb, as though exploring, and possibly disturbing, the structure and the fallen ruler resting eternally within. As with so many others, the inner chambers of the tomb are filled with objects meant to aid the spirit of the ruler buried within as they pass on to the afterlife, and the iconic canopic jars protecting their organs. Also displayed are several manuscripts of the Book of the Dead, the ancient writings and art displayed on the yellowed and torn pages detailing funerary rites and the afterlife to which the soul would be passing on. Deeper within, we find a sarcophagus, blue and gold face staring up at us, unblinking, painted eyes watching eternally, never to close again. In the tomb's deepest chamber lies a room dedicated entirely to the Egyptian afterlife, featuring an imposing statue of Anubis taking up the center of the room, guarding the mysteries of the afterlife found within. A scale looms ominously in the corner, upon which rests a human heart, its blood dripping onto the stone floor to puddle beneath it, and the feather of Mat, also known as the feather of truth, against which the soul's heart shall be weighed. This simple device shall determine the fate of the heart's owner, determine the afterlife into which they are destined to pass. The scale weighs their heart, weighs their sins, and judges their eligibility for paradise. Should their sins outweigh the feather, their heart would become dinner for the goddess Amit, and the soul forced to suffer, eternally restless, in the underworld's depths. We find another puzzle in this room, one which deeply infuriated me during my playthrough. Number 6. Oh no, a sliding puzzle. But what of the other room mentioned before? I said there were 2 rooms we had yet to explore, did I not? Well, the final exhibit of this museum tour is a colorful village street, lit by vibrant strings of lights and street lamps along the walls of the houses which line the brick road. This room is a celebration, a festival, meant to honor those who have passed and to detail how different places around the world do the same through holidays such as Dia de los Muertos, Halloween, and the Hungry Ghost Festival. The party is in full swing, guitar music filling the air as orange light glows from windows overhead and colored banners hanging from the rooftops. Stalls along the road showcase iconic elements of these celebrations. The vivid calaveras, with their painted faces, grin at us from a brightly lit cart, bringing a splash of color to a celebration of something as dark and desolate as one's demise. Atop a pile of hay bales sits an assortment of jack-o'-lanterns, their orange grins greeting us as we pass. One has even donned a witch hat in the spirit of the season. Atop a red altar lies offerings of incense, gold, food, and lights which float atop a shallow trough of water, all meant for the wandering spirits let loose upon the earth during the Hungry Ghost Festival. At the end of the road, though, lies a gigantic stone archway, and within it, a wooden door. Our entry into this door is marred by chains and a series of small podiums. Upon one of these podiums lies a small crystal orb, like those we had been awarded for completing the museum's puzzles, and the purpose of these crystals is finally revealed. However, the realm beyond the door is not exactly meant for mortal eyes, or at least those who have not retrieved the crystals, hence the blocked entrance. As such, we will not be showing the place beyond to you. Consider this an incentive to try the game out yourself and figure out how this journey through death ends.
Darkhill's puzzles are a little bit all over the place, ranging from the absurdly easy, see puzzles 3, 10, and 11, to the borderline unfairly luck-based, see puzzles 4 and 8. However, the game does tend to lean towards puzzles that are easily completable. However, something that cannot be said is that the puzzles are forgettable. Every exhibit has very distinct puzzles, and none are repeated. Thankfully, for those among you who may not be so good at puzzles or simply want to gawk at the exhibits, Darkhill includes a setting called Tourist Mode, which, when toggled on, unlocks all doors in the museum, but you will remain locked out of the true ending. Is the Darkhill Museum worth your money? Is it even worth a free visit? In my opinion, yes, absolutely. Darkhill is a wonderfully charming little game that, while somewhat light on content, will certainly entertain. I'd highly encourage you to go pick up a copy of Darkhill. If not, at least consider going and playing the demo that's available for free. Maybe Darkhill isn't for you. Instead, consider supporting some of Rusko's other work, such as Dead in the Water, or his snake-adjacent programming game, Bad Sector, as well as joining the hunt to track down the rest of his work that has slipped through the hourglass of time. As for me and CJ, we'll be taking our leave for this evening. We do hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do leave a like, and consider subscribing and enabling notifications. We have a lot of new and hopefully interesting content coming down the pipe, and we do hope you'll stick around for it. And with that, I'm Kay the Dark-Hearted, and I bid you all good night.